klooks.com.br, now doing over $50,000 a month in revenue, up from $25,000 a month just a year ago. They have three business models that are selling all kinds of financial data to banks. They have a data as a service, which is 60% of their revenue, SaaS, which is 20% of the revenue, and service, which is another 20% of their revenue. They've got a team today of about 35 folks, 26 of which are in engineering and data cleaning. They help these private equity firms clean up, balance sheets, profit and loss, cash flow statements, then also aggregate publicly traded data off the internet via scrapers and sell it back to the big PE funds or the banks of the world. Hey folks, my guest today is Alex Abujamra. He's worked in M&A advisory for the start of his career and was a CFO of a manufacturing company prior to being the CEO of KLooks. At KLooks, he's developed routines of structuring unstructured financial data, integrating with OCRs, automatic data classification, quality assurance, and also acted as a sales closer in their main contracts with large Brazilian banks and international financial data aggregators. Alex, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, sure.
All right, this is a really tough space. We rely on Plaid data, for example, or Teller or Kodat, and so many of them mislabel transaction data in banks. And there doesn't seem to be a good source of truth for this sort of thing. Is this the problem you're trying to solve?
Yeah, it is in this environment, but we are specialized on structuring data out of PDF files, which is a pretty difficult task. It's quite a mess to get financial data out of PDF files and put it into, let's say, tables or SQL or any other sort of data format. And we do that usually for banks and what we structure is financial statements. We get financial statements from companies, and we turn those numbers, which are pretty messy and confusing, into something that credit analysts, investment analysts can use to make decisions.
So, for example, if I run a large structured credit fund doing $10 million debt deals into software companies, and they're all giving me different formatted QuickBook exports of their QuickBooks files, and they all have different labels, I might just send them all to you, and you will translate the labels the founder used with the internal labels that we use to triangulate the profit and loss with the balance sheet with the cash flow statement, something like that.
Perfect. That's exactly what we do.
Amazing.
And that would be could be a QuickBooks file, could be a PDF file out of any accounting system. We get that into a structured format, and then we classify it into the bank standards. We do that for banks and insurance companies, but we also do that with public financial statements. We have crawlers in the web getting financial statements that are public and structuring that into our database, and that's what we sell to international data aggregators.
Interesting. Okay, so would you say you're a SaaS company, or you're saying more of a service company?
It's a bit of both. We have a SaaS service, which is a platform you can log in online with a password, and you can navigate into our public financial statements universe. And that's our SaaS. But for banks, what we do is service.
So over the last 12 months, what was the split, would you say, percentage wise, between service and SaaS?
It's there's a third category, which is like data to distributors. So we just sell like large amounts of data so people could distribute. I would say that 60% would be data in large quantities to distributors and banks, like public data infrastructure. 20% would be SaaS, and the other 20% would be service.
Interesting. So you really have what we call DaaS, right? Data as a service is 60% of your business. That's your main business.
That's our main business, the data as a service.
Interesting. Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your Founder Path dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of Founder Path, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. Okay, very cool. Put this on a timeline. Well, actually, I guess before we go there, for the data as a service, like the average customer, what are they paying you per month or per year to access this data, the technology?
Well, when you're talking about SaaS, there's small tickets. It's 1,800 reais, which is roughly, let's say, $300-$400 monthly. But when you go to the data structuring as a service to banks, we charge it by unit. We charge it by financial statement that we structure to them, and depending on the quantity they hired from us, it goes to an expensive unit price to a quite cheap one, and it goes from, let's say, $25 to $5 at the range per financial statement.
Interesting. So if I was going to give you a profit loss, cash flow statement, and a balance sheet, that's $5, $5, $5, so $15 total.
Yeah, that's it.
Interesting. Okay, tell me more about your team. How many folks are full time?
Oh, no, sorry. Financial balance sheet and income statements. It's $5 total. We don't charge per.
I see.
We charge both.
Okay, that's great. How many folks are full time at your company today, Calix?
35 more or less.
Wow. Okay, how many of them are engineers?
We have 6 engineers and more or less 20 people in our data quality assurance, and well, the rest is like administrative, sales and stuff.
How many sales reps do you have that carry a quota?
That's 3 people, counting me.
Oh wow, okay. You're the head chief sales guy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, very cool. Okay, let's put this on a timeline. When did you launch the business? What year?
There are different views on that. We started the business in 2012, but it was a side business to all the founders at that point. I turned into full-time CEO of the company in 2017. So, till 2017, the company wasn't really flowing. It started to happen in 2017.
And how many founders are at the company? How many co-founders?
We were 3 co-founders, and we have 1 partner, which is investing, our CTO.
Interesting. Now, did you guys just split equity evenly at the start, or was it different?
We did equally.
So you guys are friendly. You just said, right, 25 each, 25% each.
Yeah, well, 33.3, and well, I had 33.4. So one had to have a little bit more, but that's it. We opted to do it equally.
That's great. Now, have you guys bootstrapped today, or have you raised capital?
No, we bootstrapped it all the way long.
Oh, I love that. All right, and tell me about how you got your first customer.
Oh, actually, we were accelerated, and we at that point we received like $50,000 or something like that. But we don't count that because we
How
never
much
use
equity
it.
at the accelerator?
They never converted it. It was an accelerator inside a big insurance company in Brazil, and they just phased out the project and didn't convert any startups.
Interesting.
Yeah, they just lost money at that point.
Okay, so Bootstrap today. That's great. Tell me how you got your first customer.
Our first customer was a private equity that we knew. We were close to them. We from our city, and they had the pain. That was the pain that I addressed specifically to this kind of guys at that point, because I worked in M&A and knew that private equity firms needed that sort of data, financial statements from private companies that were public in the web. And the first one was this private equity company, but the first real customer that maintained the business for a while was a large data aggregator. It was Capital IQ in 2014. So they basically didn't have any data on private Brazilian companies.
Capital IQ was one of your early customers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
That's right.
That's great. Okay, and then fast forward to today. How many customers today?
Oh, let's counting the SaaS might be, because we have the SaaS, we have the data as a service, we have the banks. The banks might be like 10 more or less. Our SaaS might be something like 35, 40. Big data aggregators, there are 4 or 5, and there are some guys that integrated our data into their systems and they sell that as a module. And if you count those guys, it's like 200, 300.
Interesting. So what does that mean? I mean, if I take that times the ARPU, the average contract value you were talking about earlier, I mean, you're doing like $50,000-$60,000 a month, something like that.
Yes, pretty much that. It's a good.
If you're doing that today, what were you doing exactly 1 year ago so we can calculate growth?
Half of it.
Oh, wow. So you've grown 100% year over year.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. So from, call it $25,000 a month a year ago to $50,000 plus today, what do you hope you can reach in 2023?
Tough question. I think we can go to something like $100,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're certainly rooting for you. I love that you bootstrapped here. Do you think you're going to phase out, 2 of the models and only focus on one? I mean, data as a service, it sounds like is the majority of your revenue. Why not kill the other stuff?
That's a nice dilemma we have when talking among founders. We understand that data will be pretty much structured in the future. So we don't want to quit SaaS right now. It's a small part of our business, but we understand that in the future, like 2030 plus, it might be the main business that we have, because structuring data will become easier with time, but creating intelligence out of it will not be commoditized so early. That's what we understand. So that's why we don't phase out the others, because we're looking for 2030 and on.
Makes a lot of sense. All right, Alex, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite book.
Favorite book, Sapiens.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Wow, I'll be very cliche. It's on Steve Jobs, but
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building Klooks?
My favorite online tool. I'm not the dev. I'm the guy that tries stuff, and I love to do things on Google Sheets, and I prove to the devs that things work. And then, guys, look, I did it on Google Sheets, so please put that in production. It works more or less like.
I love that. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Oh, depends on the time of the year, but might be 7. I'm a good sleeper.
Fair. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
I have a kid, but I'm not married.
Okay, not married with 1 kiddo. And how old are you?
I'm 37 now.
37. Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
I think that when I was 20, it would be good if I was less afraid of making mistakes. Tried stuff harder.
Guys, there you have it. klooks.com.br now doing over $50,000 a month in revenue, up from $25,000 a month just a year ago. They have three business models that is selling all kinds of financial data to banks. They have a data as a service, which is 60% of their revenue, SaaS, which is 20% of the revenue, and service, which is another 20% of their revenue. They've got a team today of about 35 folks, 26 of which are in engineering and data cleaning. They help these private equity firms clean up, balance sheets, profit and loss, cash flow statements, then also aggregate publicly traded data off the internet via scrapers and sell it back to the big PE funds or the banks of the world. Anyways, we'll see what happens next. Alex, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, three hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.